Good afternoon. The time is now 7 o'clock. Call to order the joint meeting of the Stafford Municipal School District as well as Stafford City Council on August 5th, 2025. We do have a quorum, but I will go ahead and take attendance for our board. Trustee Wilkins?
Present.
Secretary Sosa Montalongo?
Present.
Trustee Thompson?
Present.
Trustee Sanchez?
Present.
And President Ashamrani is also present. We do have our Vice President who is currently traveling, as well as past President Manuel Hinojosa, who is fighting COVID. So we wish him a well recovery and hope he is back with us soon. Over to you, Mayor.
Yes, I'm calling the meeting, joint meeting of City Council and Stafford School to order. And I can start from there. Can you roll call?
Tim Wood present.
Virginia Roach is present.
What's that? I'm present.
Here.
Alice Chen present.
William Mosley present.
Ken Matthews present.
Move on to item 3, invocation and pledge. Mr. Mayor, you want to have someone on your side say the invocation? We'll have Secretary do pledge.
William, you do it.
What are we doing?
Regularly.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the
Texas flag. I pledge
Allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Thank you.
We'll do the invocation. Secretary, do you mind doing the invocation?
I was supposed to do the pledge.
I know. They threw a curveball at us.
I have one. Sorry.
That's okay.
My fault.
I know. Just wing it, I guess. Bow your heads if you wish. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. May we join together and, sorry, maybe you should do it. Go ahead, yes, please.
Dear Lord, we thank you for your presence in our lives. We thank you for guiding us and giving the wisdom to get together and do what's good for the school, the district, the children, the transportation, the entire SMSD family. We praise you for all the glory that you have brought us, and we pray that you continue to guide us in our discussions and our deliberations. In this I pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Item number 4, presentation by CFO regarding the 2025-2026 SMSD budget and tax rates. Dr. Boston.
President Amarani, members of the board, Mayor Matthew, members of the council, we are going to ask CFO Alvzov to kind of take us through this part of the presentation. One of the things I want to make sure that we're kind of clear on as he's kind of getting stuff up and about. Right now, for the viewing public, this is really for the viewing public probably more so than for us, because each of us have seen a lot of what's being presented today. We've just finished up the 89th legislative session. A lot of the new rules and laws are starting to kick in, and so we may see some of those effects after effects, but what we do know coming in, we should have a balanced budget, and that should be the same. We should have our tax rates actually should be here, and so we've got finalized rates now. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to our CFO.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Boston. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our workshop number 2 for 25-26 budget adoption meeting. Oh, can you hear me? So, okay. So this is a workshop number 2. So we had one workshop back in June, and this will be the second and the last one before our official budget adoption meeting, which will be held in August, on August 25th. So I want to start with our mission statement. So SMSD's mission statement is for every student to graduate college or career ready without remediation. We had a great meeting this morning as well during the convocation. So, Dr. Superintendent, Dr. DeBoss. So that was a great event. I enjoyed it. And that was a reflection of our mission statement. All right, so I want to start with the key deadlines. So for the school districts with fiscal year end August 31st, the deadline to propose and adopt budget is between August 20 through August 31st. So we are planning to adopt it on August 25th, since we are a 9-1 fiscal year school district. So TA local property value survey, that was due on August 1st. We received the certified values on July 31st. The last one we received from the Harris County, and we submitted the same day, and it has been approved. And I have one more slide that shows the details about that survey. Another important deadline, it's at 10:30, no more than 30, no less than 10 rule. So that's a deadline to publish notice of public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate. So our meeting is on August 25th, so we fall up from July 25th until August 15th. So we need to publish that by August 15th. And deadline to adopt the tax rate, it's a later of September 30th or the 60 days after the certified appraisal roll. So we received that before the July 31st, so the deadline for that would be September 30th this year. So last year, for example, we received that on August 1st. So in that case, that would be on October 1st. But this year, it will fall on September 30th. Okay, on the next couple of slides, I put again that schedule that explains the Tier 1 compression. So Tier 1 MCR, maximum compression rate, that applies to the Tier 1. And Tier 2, it has two levels, 8 pennies plus 9, total 17 pennies. Those are the enrichment pennies. Just it doesn't hurt to remember them before we go over the details. So TA notifies the districts of the highest Tier 1 MCR rate that we can adopt after the local property value survey that I mentioned, so which was due on August 1st, and we got the approved results. So that compression rate, it goes down, it doesn't go up. It goes down, but it doesn't hurt the districts. Whenever it goes down, whatever that foregone tax, that portion is covered by the state. So state steps in, and states are pushing to decrease the tax rates as much as possible. And that's the whole reason behind this project. On the next slide, we have a certified taxable values from Fort Bend County and Harris County. I have a summary on the next slide. So our certified net taxable value increased slightly by 3.31%. So we expected it to increase by around 3.46 when we discussed that during our last session. So that number, and there is also local optional homestead exemption value. That also plays a role in MCR rate. With the new certified taxable values, we are looking at MCR rates slightly decreasing compared to last year. So it's a very small change. It's less than a penny. It's actually less than a half of a penny. It's just 0.47 pennies. But still, it is a decrease. Our debt service rate will remain the same this year as well. So overall, proposed tax rate will decrease slightly by 0.47 cents. I'm sorry, it's less than a cent. 0.44 cents, almost a half a penny. So one thing I wanted to pay attention here. I want you just to. So the limit, the minimum limit is 0.5689, and we are at 0.6122. The minimum limit last year was 0.6169, and we were at that minimum limit. So this year we are above that. Yeah, because you reach the minimum rate whenever your growth is significantly high. So we have a growth, but not a significantly high. That's why we didn't get to the minimum rate. Okay. On next slide, we have our collection rates. We had this slide last time as well. Our collection rate is pretty robust. It's 99%. And if you go back, it's almost 100% because counties are recouping after years. That's why you are seeing that increasing collection rate. If you go if you go up, but even for 2024, it's for 2023 it stands at 98.54%, which is 99% rounded. Okay, so these are our PIMS data after our summer submission. So last time we had the estimated numbers. The numbers didn't change. They remained the same after the summer submission. So for 24-25 we have 3177 in refined average daily attendance. So these numbers are refined average daily attendance. It's not enrollment. I put our, for example, current enrollment rate as well so that we can compare it to the enrollment rate. Our enrollment for 24-25 was 3,492. But since state funds us on the attendance, they calculate the foundation formula foundation allotment is counted on the average daily attendance numbers.
Mr. Rosenthal,
Yes, sir.
which campus are we seeing most of that growth in? The growth in ADA, where are we seeing that? Do you have that? Do you know where that growth's happening?
It was 3%, I believe. I don't have those numbers.
So where are we getting the extra students? Is really my question. Maybe the superintendent or Dr. Bose may need to.
So it's at the STEM campus. That's where we have growth. In fact, that's where you've got estimated growth again this year,
Right.
where you've got more kids than we've had positions. So that's the one that's been growing. It had a start. I looked at kind of the trend line. It actually started down in the hundreds. It had like 150. I mean, it's a solid like 3-something. So it's up there right now. And they estimated that if we continue to go even higher this year, we just almost had to put a cap on it just to kind of keep it going.
Great. And are we seeing declines anywhere in any of the campuses?
I would say we've had a small decline at the middle school, but they're holding steady. Last year, the elementary campus stayed heavy. Probably a year before that, we saw some bigger drops, but it's holding. The STEM school is increasing more so because we keep adding grade levels because we're going up. So this is the year that we will have seniors that will actually graduate. And we could potentially, if we opt to add other grade levels, could even have more growth if we opt to add first or second or what have you, because that has been a part of the discussion as well. So, and then the high school has had a slight tick up. So they're holding steady or going up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Could you clarify the difference between the two numbers for 2024, 2025?
24 and 25. So 24, 25.
And
And the estimated number? You mean the last one?
the column.
it's an estimate. And majority of them, it's coming from the STEM Academy students. Oh, please,
And I'm
Dr.
going to add
Nasser,
to
you
what
can-
he was saying. So refined ADA is not our enrollment itself, it's actually the percentage of time that they were here. So let's say you got 3,000, for simple math, 3,492 kids enrolled, but those 3,492 kids only come 90% of the time. So you'd multiply the 3,492 times 90%, and that drops. That's a simplistic way to look at refined ADA, because that's how we get money back in, not on enrollment. So does that kind of answer what you're talking about? Yes. So when people see this slide and they say, but I thought you had more kids enrolled in that. We do, but we look at their total percentage of enrollment, and that's what's refined ADA, and that's how we get to keep dollars on campus.
May I ask a question? I know this year, the 89 registration, they passed the voucher. So is any impact on our school? It doesn't matter, elementary, middle school, high school, any impact on this voucher? So reduce our student. Do you see anything so far?
Right now, the numbers aren't saying that. And I did forget to add, I wanted to also say that our early childhood center is also holding steady. And then we have a very strong interest in the early STEM program that has started there as well. So right now, keeping our fingers crossed, we're not seeing that we need to be concerned this year. I think the concern will be more so next year once all of this is ironed out with our legislators, because they're still working on the guidance for vouchers. So I think next year is going to be really critical in terms of what that looks like. But I think this year we're going to be out. My projection would be that we will be unharmed this school year.
I think that's well said, because even though that was passed, they have not ironed out what the rules are. So when my conversation with the commissioner the other day is that, well, they don't have that information yet. They're going to work on it because it just happened. And so I think that's going to be kind of a lagging indicator. We'll see that maybe next year. One of the advantages I think Stafford has, and if you read in the newspaper not too long ago, maybe a couple days, I want to say Klein had increased enrollment and not gone backwards. So one of the things I think that we're finding is that some people are still, they're really trying to cling to good programs. You've got good programs here. And so kind of if you keep it up, you'll have that. One of the other things that I'll say that may not be in this indicated number, I want you to take a look on Teams Refined ADA, look at 2425, 3177. Now I want you to know, if you look at almost a year before that jump, we had Dr. Amesqua over here and CFO Avzav and myself, and I think we were all surprised. Not only did it hold steady, that thing jumped, because people are looking for programs of choice that you've got a proven track record, okay? You do. And so, but I mean, if we're going to see an indicator, it'll be a lagging one that we see a little bit later on. I do believe that one of the things Stafford can start, just kind of keep in their back pocket. You got things that are going well, I'd stick with that. Push that, push that, push that. That's going to keep you pretty strong.
I think our teams, I want to highlight, our team's being a little humble. I think as a board, we've always thought about this. And our team has done a phenomenal job keeping us on that cutting edge. Because I think the reality is, whatever passed this cycle, it's not going to come into effect till next year. But even when it does, it's only 100,000 students out of the millions that exist in Texas. I think what's going to happen 2 years from now, there's a good chance they're going to expand that program. And our team has done a phenomenal job preparing us for that moment when they do expand that program, so people continue to choose Stafford as their school district. And so we are thinking about it. It's a great question.
And also, I understand the TA going to release the rating on August the 15th, right? Something like that.
Yes.
Could you let us know, because we're anxious to, we will promote those rating in the community and encourage people to enroll the Stafford. What's the last day for enrollment for this year?
Absolutely. So one thing, here's the good part. So we actually don't have a stop date. If they want to come and enroll, we'll take them.
Oh.
Even after school starts. I'm so glad you said that for the viewing public. there is not a stop date. If you choose to enroll in Stafford, we'd like you to come and enroll. The first day of school, however, is, what day is it?
It's August 13th.
August 13th.
But our actual stop date would be after PM Snapshot.
That's right.
In all
Which
honesty.
is in
with the-
October 30 something.
Yeah,
October, okay.
Yeah.
So there's no deadline for
No,
enrollment?
ma'am. No, ma'am. We just encourage people.
if we still have room.
Yeah, if we have. Oh, I love that.
If we still have room in some
That
places.
was a
yes.
good answer, Dr.
Yeah,
Bowes.
because there are
All
places
right,
we
all
don't
right.
have space.
We have
think
rules
the
in
STEM
every grade, right? I mean, for STEM, for high
So
school, it doesn't matter, right?
I don't think we, can you add?
It varies. It varies. There are some grade levels
That are-
that when we look at the numbers, we're like, we don't have space, and sometimes we're unable to accept students in certain grade levels. But there are some, so as long as we have space in that grade level, we will accept students until the last Friday in October. And after that last Friday in October, then we typically, it's either extenuating circumstances, a new Stafford employee, or a new City of Stafford employee that moves in after that date.
I just want to add, I don't think we accept the STEM magnet, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think they have to apply and.
Yeah, that's-
I know,
Different
they have
circumstances.
to pass the IC test.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, if they have to pass the test first.
Correct.
And then interview with parents.
That's right. Yeah. Yes.
Do you keep track of, because right now you ought to have a pretty good idea being a week out from school starting, and I don't even know if you keep track of totally new students to the district that, you know, aren't just enrolling, they're like new, like from Lamar to Stafford. Do we have any idea?
I can answer.
Go ahead. I was going to say there is some trackability because in PEAMS, anytime we have gotten a brand new student, we have a program called T-Rex from the state of Texas that actually marks the
Yeah,
kid and
tracks
says, tracks them, right.
Yeah.
Now, if they come from a system that's outside a Texas public school, it may not be as easy for us to pick that up. So I can't say that to a finite number that's there, but we do have some data. It's pretty good. Now, I don't know that number off the top of my head. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how this works, and I don't know the intricate details of it, but the people that homeschool, are they counted as students? Because they do have to have some kind of guidance from the district?
So, no, ma'am. So we do not get to, not only do we not get to actually count them, their enrollment and then their responsibility to the state is solely between them and the state.
Oh, okay.
They can get assistance from the school. We always recommend, I should close my mouth. This is really her area. Dr. Bose, would you like to?
Well, no, we don't get credit for students that are homeschooled. However, one of the things, now that the state has loosened some rules around virtual schools, that's an area in which we could possibly consider. We considered it a couple of years ago after COVID, but at that point, the state said no. Only the Texas virtual network would be able to open those types of schools. So there may be an opportunity in that particular area for us to consider another stream of students, because we already have some of that infrastructure to actually start a virtual program. We would just need to determine what the feasibility would be, which we kind of have an idea of what that would be, because that would require a few more FTEs if we were to consider opening a virtual type school in Stafford.
That'd be wonderful.
Yep.
Because is it possible, because I know several people ask me, the parents ask me, that you say we still have space, but I understand the STEM magnet is from 3rd grade to 12th grade. Now this year we have a 12th grade. They're going to graduate next year, the first graduation from STEM magnet. I'm very excited about that. But is there any way we can know this, like a space available for each grade, so we will promote, for instance, maybe high school, maybe 9, 10, 11, we need more students?
So what I can tell you is grades 3 through 8, we typically do not have, we have adequate space. Let me just say that we have good space in terms of having like a 22-to-1 ratio, grades 3 through 8. Now what happens is, and that's something we've been watching for a few years now, is that sometimes families opt to make a different decision for high school. I mean, and it's not a knock against us. Maybe they move. It's just one of those time periods when parents make decisions that are best for their family. Like a lot of families move in 5th grade, and that's not unique to Stafford. That's just period. 5th grade and 8th grade. Those are the times that families tip. And so we're finding we feel it a lot more at the STEM school because some of our families do that as well. So that's the area that we have to really watch. The students that are going from 8th grade to 8th grade to 9th grade. Although we have some students that have transferred into our traditional high school program and entered the early college program. So we've actually lost some STEM kids to the high school as well, because they want to be in the early college program.
Oh, I see.
That's a good question. I've asked that question. One of the biggest challenges we have, because the high school levels are empty,
Yeah.
but it's almost impossible for any student to actually start at high school because the kids that are already at high school
2 grades
are
up, right?
so far advanced.
They
That's
cannot
exactly
catch up.
Correct. So even we have one student this year that's coming as a 9th grader that's coming from a different district, and she basically she was already 1 year ahead, and she had to take summer school
Wow,
to get to the
I
2
see,
years
I
ahead. It's
see.
extremely difficult for them. So.
Yeah, I see. Thank you.
I got a call from one of the families, and these 2 brothers, one brother is already in the STEP magnet, the other one has more or less the same credentials, and they complain, Mayor, do something. That student was not admitted.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't get time to call you.
Okay.
So since we are talking about all this kind of a thing, then I thought of, I'll give you more details. They are complaining, eh?
Absolutely.
My second son is almost the same as the first one, who is already in the magnet school.
I hate to say that's a good problem to have, Mayor. Thank you for letting us know
They're
that
not
on
the only
television.
ones. Yeah.
We'll look forward to getting that information. One of the things I'd like to say to the viewing public yourself as well, of course, none of us at this table actually get to make that decision. They actually have a committee of people who do this work led by Dr. Perry Allen and Principal Liang, and they've got other folks, and they actually go through this interview process and all this kind of stuff. So we wish them well, but we need their name as soon as
I'll
possible.
get you. I don't have it right now.
Okay,
The
we look
secret's
forward
out.
to it.
It's gotten way more competitive than it used to be.
Yeah, Ash, our president and I remember when we were just trying to mesh this thing out. That's good, very good. Yeah, we'll look forward to getting that.
Councilman Wood.
I'm sure the board is well aware of it. I've had many of those 8th graders from the Stafford STEM Magnet Academy in my tennis program, and it's been frustrating to see 70, sometimes 80% of them choose to leave after 8th grade. And I've asked them why, and I've talked to their parents why, and I'm sure, like I said, you're aware, but what I continuously hear is that there is so little flexibility for their course selection in 9th grade forward. They're forced to take 1 of 2 tracks, whereas a Stafford High School student has so many options, and high school is an experience where you get to experience new things, different things, try things out, but they feel like it's I don't know what the right word is, they feel like they're hemmed in to just doing 1 or 2 things. I think maybe a long-term solution would be to allow more courses that are HCC or that we already have the personnel at Stafford High School, allow Stafford STEM Magnet Academy students to take those courses and take away that rigidity of having to choose 1 of 2 tracks to keep them here, so that they can continue to experience and be a graduate of the STEM Magnet Academy and not feel like they're hemmed in and because they want to try new things, that they have to choose to go somewhere else. Because I think that's we're missing out on having those students as graduates and all of the scholarship money they're going to bring in and the good things they'll bring to our community.
Well said. I think, again, this is one of those other excellent problems to have. And I can remember President Hamarani and I just going back and forth. We were trying to figure out whether we were going to just do a straight high school. Remember that? We went back and forth. And we have really grown since then. So we're taking into consideration that we'll bring in, Dr. Bose is here, so she will get right with, she already is aware of it, believe me. And with Dr. Perry Allen, Dr. Almas, and they'll be working towards what that's going to look like, because I know the board is working on some other things with even lower grades, I think was what we were trying to. So we're trying to fix this good problem, because we love having people who want to be here, but they just need more opportunities. So, yep, we're working on it.
And if you're comfortable with that, can we have maybe someone reach out and maybe get some more feedback from you, just so we know?
But I believe his assessment is, Mr. Wood's assessment, I believe, is accurate, in terms of, you know, wanting to just go in a different direction or feeling like there's narrow options. Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate you highlighting that.
I also listened to the parents from Stan Magnet, the why they're leading us. The kids want to go to marching band, but they are not allowed to, and they want to go to Kickstart. They are not allowed to. So I think that's an easy fix, you know, because I think marching band would love to have STEM students to join them, right? Because they already train all these instruments at home. I mean, they are very good, but the problem is they are not allowed to go to marching band.
Well, I think the thing is that the parents just have to make a decision what's more important. And they're going to have to be without certain things that the children would want to experience as a student in high school, that they're having to give up that privilege to be in STEM.
As a counter, I would say actually you want to look at the whole child. And we don't want to hem them into, nope, you're academic focused. You can't have a social life or a focus in an extracurricular and be a star academic achiever and a star athlete or a star band student. High school kids want to have those experiences. The most competitive candidates for colleges have a multitude of experiences. They're not my own nephew got a 36 on the ACT and didn't get into a lot of colleges because it can't just be all eggs in one basket. Colleges are looking for students that are well-rounded. So I think the feedback that I'm hearing from students, that they want to be able to have those opportunities to have a normal high school experience, they're still hyper-focused. They're not going to let down their studies just because they're in band or because they're doing swimming or whatever else they want to pursue. They just want to have those opportunities. Going back to this, though, I was curious. I see it's about a 9% average of students that are not coming on a daily basis if you take out the numbers. And I'm just curious if we can compare this to, obviously COVID threw everything off, but where were we historically as a district, maybe where we were the year prior to that? Just kind of know, are we getting better or worse? Are we seeing any patterns in regards to average daily attendance?
You are. So we had a trend line before COVID. Matter of fact, we used to be a little higher even on student enrollment. We had gotten up to 3,600 students at one time. Our average daily attendance, though, and this is what was kind of crazy, was in the 80s, 86, 84. That was, it wasn't super high. And so ADA, the refined average daily attendance has gotten much better, but we've got a smaller number, kind of cohesive number of folks. So I think that may attribute to a couple of things. It could be because the messaging has changed, because a lot of us in the classrooms and on campuses, even as the CFO was speaking this morning at convocation, started talking about ADA, and you and I were here both many years ago, and that might not have been the constant conversation. Hey, we got to do that. So we have a trend line where our refined ADA is getting better, even though our enrollment is steady, but is starting to reclimb again. So.
At what? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was going to ask, do you know the proportion of LOE students versus City of Stafford students?
So respectfully, I'll say we're going to change that terminology because we do not, the state of Texas doesn't use that terminology. There's no such thing as an LOE student. They're just out-of-district kids. So in fact, the state of Texas just says any out-of-district student's child just follows, the money follows the child. We do have that number. And so that's something that you can request, and he can give that to you from our PEIMS report on the number of students who are residents of Stafford, because he wouldn't know LOE because that's not a state term. Residents of Stafford and then out-of-district kids. So they have that report.
But on average, it's been about a third of our students that are out of the district.
Yeah, so you can answer.
What year, and I'm looking at that number you said, that 3,600, is that about the year that we moved from a 3A to a 4A? Because
Yes.
2016, 2017.
That's correct. Yeah,
And also, So these are the refined ADA numbers. So the ADA, like average daily attendance, should be a little bit higher than this. I can bring those numbers as well. So this is further adjusted based on the how many hours kids sits, what programs like SPED. So there are some variables that change the average daily attendance as well, because average daily attendance here stands at around 91%, as you mentioned. But the ADA is slightly higher than that, so I can bring those numbers as well. But the FSP, like a foundation program, is calculated based on refined ADA, and TA is actually further changes this number during the calculation. But we will provide the pure ADA numbers as well before refinement, the PIMS. Okay. Okay, so these are the next slides. We have assumptions for our general fund. We went over this during our last session. On next slide, we have more assumptions. So the tax collections rate that we calculated for the next budget year is at 99%. So we are assuming at least ADA numbers, refined ADA numbers, to increase by 60. Basic allotment was increased by $55. So we received the certified tax values, and M&O and INS rates are standing at 0.7822 and 0.2152 per $100 of valuation. So based on those assumptions, this is how our general fund looks for next year. So we are planning to adopt the balanced budget again this year as well. So those are the numbers. And on the next slide, I have them on a chart for revenue and an expenditure. So when we look at the revenue, it's 81% is a local revenue from our property taxes, 18% state, and about 1% or less than 1% federal. So these ratios stay the same, almost the same compared to the last year. So last year, for example, instructions were 54%. This year it's 55%. It's pretty close. So on next slide, we have our annual debt service tables.
Quick question, just go back to the last one. I know we had a rent number, so 5743 on revenue. Are we still expecting that? I think, if I remember correctly, a big portion of that was NAU using our football facilities. I think they no longer have a program, so I wanted to see if we're expecting that to continue or if there's something else that's
Which one
driving
is that?
Rent. So for rent, 5743. Historically, it used to be about 20,000. I think we got a nice bump when NAU started using our facilities.
Okay, so are you asking like actual it's 51,000 and then estimated it's 65? Is that the line item?
That's the line item, correct?
Yeah, so since actuals are only covering up to end of May.
But are we anticipating that?
So we are renting them during the summer in June.
So my question is really with next year. Are we expecting that to be 55,000 or are we going to expect that to come down?
50.
And I don't know if that's what's driving it, but.
So it will be more than that, but we just put a conservative number here for next year.
Okay.
But it will be higher than that, most likely. But we haven't finalized the rates yet. That's why I didn't want to put a high number.
Okay.
And overall, the budget effect is pretty small, but we can revisit that number. I think I.
Is that mostly the HCC courses, dual credit, or is that STEM Magnet Academy? What are the tuition and fees?
they have summer school? There was summer school, yes.
Well, we have tuition. There's tuition for students that don't qualify.
Because it flows to my general ledger, but Dr. DeBose might have more detail. For the tuitions.
If we have tuition for our after-school program, extended day. We have tuition for families that don't qualify for pre-K. That would be a reason for tuition. Those are the only areas that I can think of that we charge tuition. I do know for the STEM program, it's not per se tuition, but they do have to pay for like testing fees, some testing fees.
And the other part, you think about the babies we have over there, if you come to the...
And then the daycare, and then our daycare.
So they pay for that.
That's tuition. Well, you could call that tuition as well.
So those are items that are in there. We rarely have much on the tuition side, but right now for some of our ancillary programs, as you mentioned, like daycare, and that would probably be your biggest driver, that and any of the pre-K programs that we're not getting fully funded for, because before you weren't getting money for a full day of it, then parents are paying for that, or after-school programs when people pay for after-school care.
The out-of-district kids that come to the STEM Magnet Academy, the money from the state and the local district follows them.
Yes, sir.
And even though maybe the argument could be made that the cost invested in an SSMA kid might be higher than a kid in a regular school because of the technology, the opportunities, the different programs, there's no way to offset that by any kind of a tuition or a fee, kind of matching supply and demand. When there's a higher demand, then, you're able to, if the lemonade's really great, people are willing to pay an extra 50 cents.
Let me be honest and say we have to kind of think through that, because the only thing, and the reason I say think through that is because so that theory actually applies for areas that have weighted average daily attendance. For example, if they are, and you may know this, if they're in special population, special ed, bilingual, different populations. But they haven't said that for that identified population of kids who are going to that school. So that would have to be some kind of local decision. The only challenge we have with that as a local decision is, what the state really considers general ed students, it's kind of tough to see the line between doing too much more and charging one for it, except for things like lab fees. And you're saying, how did you just pick lab fees? Well, first of all, I had to contact our attorney. I had to call TEA when we started the STEM school to find out, hey, can we charge these people to take the IC test? And they told me, yes, Dr. Bostic, you can, because it was a fee. It was a lab fee. However, like I said, we got to look through that one a little more.
And let's also make sure, I think years ago, I think we looked at that.
Yeah.
First part of it, does it cost more to have a STEM student educated versus a regular student?
Yeah.
And I think we found it was almost parallel. Like the only exception was because we have a year of startup. So like next year, we're kind of done with startup. But when we were starting a new grade, we would have to hire the teachers a semester early. And that was the only additional cost on top of the revenue those students were bringing in. And so that's where we figured out, okay, this works. And I think some of that is because your STEM students, for the most part, don't have a lot of the extra accommodations that we have with the regular school, and so it actually doesn't cost as much. And then also going back to unfortunately, some of the rigidity is because we have the cost, to keep the cost down, because there's just not as many students. So when we have all these programs, it costs us more. But we should definitely take a look at that again to make sure that assumption still holds true.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then I think that's a good suggestion.
May I add, there are some cost savings in some other areas, because a lot of the students that are, obviously we have families in Stafford that have children at STEM Magnet, but we don't have transportation costs associated with students that come here. And transportation is, and that's actually one of the great pearls of this school district, is that if you are zoned here, because that's not everywhere, no matter, and that's actually something we need to advertise more. But they don't get transportation, and transportation is more expensive. In addition to that, a large number of the students that come to STEM Magnet qualify or they're identified as gifted and talented, we receive additional funding for students who are gifted and talented. So it balances out. I don't think we're hurting financially because we have students that come to I think it washes out.
Thank you for that valuable feedback.
Right. Yeah, in fact, when she brought that up, the president and I were over here, we made money the last couple of years when our enrollment was down because our STEM enrollment was up. It helped us when we lost what they call the hold harmless piece. So, but it's still worth looking at. So I always like looking at it all the time. So let's keep looking. All right. Good question.
Okay. So I'm moving to the. So on this slide we have our budget for the debt services. So last year, so because of the extra revenue on our debt service fund, we are amortizing our bonds beforehand, before the expiration date. So last year we spent about $1,912,000. This year we are expecting to spend $2.4 million to amortize, to pay off the debts early. So this is the residual amount that we can use for borrowing more money, for borrowing more bond without raising tax rate. So we are looking for $2.8 million next year as well to pay off debt early, unless we end up issuing more bonds. So yeah, our debt service fund is pretty strong. We have excess revenue over expenditures year over year. And our tax rate will remain the same for the next fiscal year as well. And when we look at the revenues, it's pretty stays the same, almost pretty close to the last year's. Okay, and on the next slide I have the pie charts for the revenue and expenditures. So 55% of that goes for interest expense and 45% for the principal. And 97% of the revenue is coming from the local share. All right, so on the next slide, this is the final, the third fund that we need to officially adopt, and that is Child Nutrition Fund. So we are staying pretty close to our budgeted numbers by the end of this year, and next year we have excess expenditures. So, but we still have fund balance that we're going to use next year. So we will end up with about $200,000 fund balance, like we have foreseeing that by the end of 25-26. So our fund balance is much lower, and we don't have any excess fund balance. So if you look at the fiscal year 21-22, 22-23, those years we had excess fund balance, but we don't have that anymore. Still, it's still sustaining. We are not using any general funds to sustain our child nutrition program. Yes, I think someone have a question.
What could that be attributed to, the fact that the fund balance is going down? Obviously, we're spending closer to what we're bringing in for this. What is the reason that's
so
happening?
we are watching it closely. Not to bring it down to zero. We did an increase last year 2 times for the in salaries, and the revenue side stayed pretty much the same. So we used our fund balance to increase because our rate was pretty low, or not competitive enough, and we had difficulty in retaining employees. But we are closely watching it. So.
Because I remember a few years ago we got in trouble because our fund balance was too large, because a lot of this is funded by the state, and obviously the federal government, which pays for all that. And they've come and told us our fund balance is too large. Is that part of why we're kind of bringing it back in line?
Yes. And then now we are just breaking, like pausing, and we are watching closely. Before it was requirement was only 3-month average daily expense. Now they increased to 6 months. So they relieved that requirement as well. So we can go ahead and accumulate fund balance in the incoming years. But yeah, Mr. Amran, you are right. We had that, the district had that problem back in 21, 22, and 22, 23.
Right, we have to submit annually, we had to submit a plan to the Texas Department of Agriculture each year that the board had to approve to spend down the fund balance because we got dinged for having too large of a fund balance. So I think this is about right. What I know that Ms. McDonald's been doing is a lot of it's been capital expenses as well as what he mentioned with some of their raises and items that they've had inside. But they're bringing in probably more than enough even still, but they were highly cognizant like we are because we get the plan that they had voted on. We had to send it to the Texas Department of Agriculture that says you're going to spend this amount of money down instead of getting dinged for holding it, feds money.
And last year also, like as a last item to add, they had some capital expenditures. So next year we limited them as well. So they will spend much less for the equipment next year as well. And it's a pie chart.
Can we go back to I just have a question regarding the revenue, 5742 investment earning. You amended budget for this year's 217, and the actuals 119, and now you estimate 145.
Yeah, that's supposed to be 245. That was a mistake.
Huh? I'm sorry?
That's a good catch. It's supposed to be 240. Oh no, the actuals is 119. No, this is correct. We are talking about investment earnings, right?
Because the reason I asked for the projection for 200 is a 200,000, right? Was it 1,000 or what?
No, it's a $200.
200,000, right?
No, it's just $200. It's a small interest that they are earning on their checking account.
Oh.
We are talking about 5742, right? 57.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 5742. Yeah.
Right. Those are the just the earnings from their checking account at Frost Bank.
Because I think interest rates going down. If your projection higher, maybe that is the revenue, right?
No, that's from the that's pretty small amount. It's
only 200. Okay, so it's
200.
Okay.
No, it's
about,
correct. $200.
Okay, and how about the indirect costs, the expenditure 51? You reduced to 60,000 from 156.
Yeah. So
what is that?
Oh, so estimated. So projection. No. So the projection.
Do you know
so
what's...
we need to. So what happened last year was 60,120. So Department of Agriculture, they changed some rules. So we ended up. You see that's other sources 60,360 on the line down the line 60,360. So that's an expenditure. So after the spring audit by the Department of Agriculture, we ended up decreasing that number. That's why next year it will be even less because they are decreasing that rate. There is a multiplier that we calculate indirect cost, and that multiplier get decreased, and most of the expenditures are not eligible for indirect cost. So the indirect cost is that we are charging child nutrition cost for the administrative expenditures that district provides them. Before it was high, but they reduced that number. That's why we're expecting it to be 60,000. And for the current year, it's 156 minus 60,000, so it will be 96,000. So I put that in the other resources as a separate line item.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Here on
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
total federal revenues, there is an item called Department of Agriculture. That 125,000 is the very low compared to the previous years. What could be the reason?
I couldn't hear you, Mayor Matthew. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the number 5939. The last column is 125,000.
155,000.
So he's asking why, what's the reason that it's gone down to 120?
So can you tell me the what line number, the revenue or expenditure code?
Revenue, yeah.
5939. So, okay, so Department of Agriculture. So, yes, Department of Agriculture, it's decreasing for 125. So I got these estimates from our child nutrition program from Miss Danny, our director of child nutrition program. So her estimate, she has a calculation on her own. It is, we're expecting it to be going down. So it will go down to 125. So and we want to be, in such cases also, we want to be conservative, not to exaggerate. So, yeah.
So if I add just a little color to that, not much more, except for normally when Ms. McDonald makes those estimates and she rounds those up, remember we look at things like free and reduced lunch rate, how much revenue are we going to get in and be able to request back from the Texas Department of Agriculture. She estimates low, so just in case we don't get the forms in that we're expecting to get back in, she's not expecting that revenue. We will be able to amend the budget later on based on how much she gets in or doesn't, but that would be the old guys' response.
And also, it's federal portion. So federal budget is also, they are cutting, so state portion remain the same, but the federal portion is going down. So that might be another reason for that.
I think I heard you say that you did not have any capital expenditures
So we
in
decreased
for
that.
next year?
Yeah, we do have, we're going to have it, but we reduced the amount because we want to keep our fund balance above zero.
Yeah, this is a tricky account that, you can't, you have to keep it low and like you said, you get dinged if you do, so there's a constant need to upgrade equipment and make new lunch lines and everything else to keep it as low as possible.
On the account number 5751, local food service receipts, it's reduced from 42,172 projection to next year. Is this going to impact the children? For the revenue, you need to receive the money to provide the food service for the student.
Yeah, again, it's a projection, but we see
That your
the reduction
projections
as
go
well.
down for.
Yeah, we see the reduction as well in the projection.
But is that going to impact our children?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So,
So
as long as it's,
so the local food service receipts that they have, there are particular vendors that they use that, so for example, the child nutrition department may have, they're providing food, but then we may have a Chick-fil-A day.
Oh.
So if you get local food service receipts, like within certain, there used to be, and DeBose and I are seasoned enough to where we've seen that. Remember when they used to have, you couldn't be 100 feet from the child nutrition line with something that was an outside service provider that didn't meet the nutrition guidelines. So some days they have some vendors come in and they sell and they get dollars from some of those. They also have sometimes additional food stuffs that they sell.
I just worry. I don't want our kids.
No, that's not part of the actual program, the meal program that they have for a child every day.
Does anybody pay for lunch anymore?
No, we get adults do. Right? Adults do. Yes, that's a great question. Yes, yes, they do.
It's
Adults do.
It used to be $2.
Yes.
I don't know what it is anymore.
Yeah. So we used to go through and look at that, and even when we'd have the increase of like 10 cents or 20 cents, and we'd have to adjust it. So now, but no, not for students, but for adults. Yes, we can. Yes, we absolutely do.
on the next few slides, I have a cash flow projection for the next year, and depending on that, our tax anticipation note. So as you remember, we issue tax anticipation note in September of each year to cover our cash flows until we receive the property tax revenue, because property tax revenue starts flowing in January. It starts in the end of December, but a big chunk of it starts coming in January and February. That's why to cover cash shortage, we are temporarily borrowing money in September, and we are paying it back end of February. So we are borrowing like a 6-month note. Last year we borrowed $9 million. This year we reduced it to $7 million, and we expect about 5.4 or close to that cash shortage from September through December, and for that reason we will be borrowing $7 million, like we did last year and the year before. Yes, sir.
So just to make sure I'm understanding clearly, if I'm recalling the discussions we had prior to the bond proposal, one of the measures was to pay back the TAN that was taken out last year. Is that not correct?
It's a different
It was a different thing
That's
altogether?
a different one. That's
So
called
how
maintenance.
much of a TAN was taken for this past school year?
They're different ones. Yeah,
$9 million.
9 million.
9 million.
And so
$9 million.
this is a new one for 7 million.
Well, the 9's paid off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So this is a short-term loan. We had the cash flow. We were just waiting for tax receipts to come in January,
Exactly.
and we were able to pay it off.
Exactly. So yeah, these tax anticipation notes, as the CFO already brought out, and give him credit, because I'm looking down there on your beginning fund balance. You remember when it had gotten so super low, it was in a 5-figure area, so you're at about $4 million. In Stafford, because we're a property-rich school district, instead of 3 months worth of fund balance, we need 6 to almost 8, and so we end up using basically money that we would have collected in taxes. So I give them credit. Look at this, by month. That shows that we're using that, and then at the end, we need to have that in there. So we've got to have that TAN to cover that amount of money, and we pay it back every year. He pays it back on
Yes.
time, and
So that $9 million is already paid off.
Yeah.
So we
you'll get
borrow
another
September.
one till you get your
After
fund
6
balance
months,
all
we
set.
paid back.
I'm thinking of something else. I thought there was something in the budget last year where we purchased new transportation.
That's a maintenance note.
We
Yeah,
took
maintenance.
care of some
That's a
air
different note.
conditioning.
Yeah, so that
What
one's-
was that?
That's called a maintenance note. So, yeah, so the maintenance note is a little bit different than that. The maintenance note is separate and apart from this. The maintenance note we have to pay out of M&O money. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want
Yes.
to answer this?
Yes,
I'm
it is
sorry.
also, yeah,
I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Vasek, thank you. It's we also, like 10 maintenance note, we pay out of our M&O budget rather than the debt fund. That was $5 million that we borrowed last year, and that was a long-term loan. So that was, we intended to cover that with the bond. That was one of the propositions for the bond. So we intended to pay it off when we issue the bond through our debt fund. That didn't happen. We're still carrying it. We are paying about $360,000 per year, including interest and principal.
That was a long-term loan, and we've
Yes, a
been
long-term
paying it. You said 860,000 a year is what we're paying. So-
It's very close to 300.
7 years, is that what it's for?
Yes.
So how long was the term? Was it 15?
So
20?
term is 5 years, but it's amortized over the 25 years.
think
So
he
term of the note is 5 years,
25.
No.
but amortized through 25 years. So the payment amount was smaller, and whatever the remaining amount, you need to pay it off after 5 years, unless you refinance it.
And where does that leave us in regards to, I hate to open up a can of worms, but that's our job, right? Where does it leave us in regards to unmet maintenance needs on campus? I know it took care of some critical needs in transportation, some of the AC units. Are we still having issues with AC in some of the school buildings? And do we have any mechanism for this budget year to address those since the bond failed?
Yes. So we do have a mechanism. One of the things that trustees have been very, very better than good stewards, because they literally just won't approve things unless they know they have it. I mean, it has to be to the penny. So they got some money left right now. They haven't spent it all because of stuff that continues to happen, because as long as we keep using a bandage to fix stuff, because that's all we can really afford, and that's what we're doing. We used the bandage because that's all we could afford, but we needed to have the bandage or we couldn't have school, if I could give that. And so that's what trustees are doing, and so they still have some dollars left to kind of do that. I will say that one of the things we discussed, and I know you were here in SMSD, but I know this board some years ago, we had our fund balance, we had protected certain parts of it for things like that. So that has been reintroduced as an idea that we need to have some of that for things that we know are long-term capital pieces that we had to deplete at one time. So that's being reintroduced because we know about that. So to answer your question.
Contingency fund or something like that?
Yeah, so in our fund balance itself, they have areas where you can call it a protected fund balance. Let's say we had $1 million, we say, well, 200,000 is a protected fund balance, or we say it has a particular purpose. Let's say it was supposed to deal with large capital improvement items. For example, if an air conditioner went down, so we don't have to borrow against it. That actually is an old thing that we have done for years. We just ended up having some challenges, a couple of years ago that we've had to get back out. So we're just reinstating it, but that balance is super, super small. So we're still using this maintenance note until we get it. But there is good news because literally 3 years ago, your fund balance this year when you come out is going to be, am I reading that right, about $4 million?
Yes.
So on average, when it was just you and me back then, we had about $10 million. When was the year? We had $10 million when we had, you were here.
2017,
Yeah, we're on our way back. And so some of these dollars that you have, that gives you a little bit of room. So give yourself credit, this entire body, because you've made some decisions to where you're keeping some money and you're playing it smart. But until we get, almost that magic number of 10, you need about 9 really. So you're on your way, but you're not quite there yet. So it's taking you a couple of years. If we would have got that one item that you were talking about with the maintenance note, then that would have given us the ability to take that money back that we were using out of the maintenance note, and all of a sudden we paid ourselves back, and now you're whole again. You're back to and you don't need your 10 because you're done. But I understand that the voters spoke, so that's okay. But I just needed to make sure I clarified it. Does that kind of help?
Yes, but just to answer the question or to hash on the point, ACs this year, are we good to go day one?
Well, as far as we know, but they're bandaged, meaning that they're good to go.
They're not long-term fixes.
But they're not long-term fixes.
They're jerry-rigging the best they can.
Yes, sir. And they're doing the best jerry-rigging that they can do. But then we haven't had enough money to go take out the central plant and put in a new central plant. So most of our stuff is still 40 years old, and we had enough money to fix the water tower, or we had enough money to fix the cooling area, which were very large expenses. But then maybe the blower goes out down the hallway. And matter of fact, we'll find that at each of these campuses. So does that kind of help answer that?
That helps.
Yep.
We've, as a board, I want to applaud the board because we've had to say no to a lot of things that have come that people have wanted to take money from that. We've had to say no because we want to save that money for that situation. Is when we do have an AC go out or something that is safety related, that's where we're really trying to save. And it's been tough. It's been some tough decisions that have been made. So.
That's the sad news because the temperatures are going to be high this summer, and those systems are stressed already and bandaged, so they're going to go out at a certain point. And then you have to hear about, how ineffective and where's the accountability and get rid of everybody and, but if people would stop to understand, like you said, it's 45 years old. We replace cars every 5-6 years, because of, the stability or the integrity of the vehicle. You get so many miles on it. So if people would just come and either take a tour and look at these chillers and look at these systems, they would see I mean, it's, they're rusting out and everything else, so how can they expect it? And of course we want our children to be safe and cool and have a good learning environment, but when you don't have the money to fix it, and it's kind of like doing the best you can how you can. So it's disappointing that people just don't understand. I mean, they're quick to criticize without looking into why it's happened or what has happened over time. So.
I want to say thank you, President Ash. You mentioned about you are keeping the fund balance up. You did 1.8 on 2022. Now it's almost $4 million. So I know you guys work so hard. Yeah, thank you so much for all your hard work. The fund balance is up.
I do want to highlight one thing just for this group. If you look at our Robin Hood payment, this is one of the things I've actually talked to several legislators about, including the state senator. One of the weird things that the state requires us to do is we have to pay them $700,000 in November. And what's weird about that is the fact that we actually don't get that money till January when we start collecting taxes. So we're literally borrowing money just to pay the state on money that they deem we are property rich on. So if you guys get an opportunity to continue to advocate to change that, that's a weird system that's existed, and we've had to do this in the past as well. It makes no sense. They're saying we're property rich and we have too much money, but we haven't even collected that money yet. So, but I wanted to highlight that. So if you look at function 91, you can notice there's two payments. There's one in November and there's one in August. The November payment comes before we even collect taxes, right? Because we don't collect our taxes until January, February. And we're basically required, we're forced to borrow the $7 million because we have to pay the state money that we don't have.
That's correct.
So I do want to highlight that. So next time you are talking to someone, that's the state government.
It is, because, the legislature changed a lot of things and, with vouchers and whatnot. Was there any discussion at all about eliminating the Robin Hood? Because now you have the money following the student, and there should be more balance and all that. There's no talk, no bills, no nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, ma'am, we got I got my electronic transfer note yesterday, Dovron and I, and we have to make that to our loan shark tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
They require it. They will call me. They call me. They call me on my cell phone. Board is hurting.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Bus, we need our, they want their money.
Yeah, it's due on August 15, and then on September 15 we will borrow money.
Correct.
A month later.
I love that because he's brand new and he just
He
told you
didn't
exactly. We will
understand our
borrow
dilemma.
money in order to pay them.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do.
Maybe you guys can talk to state representative, tell them about the issue and put a bill and see how it goes.
But you know what? I talk to them often.
They don't want to?
I don't know that that's the case. I don't know
And
that
this
they
is
have a
every
lot of
school.
support.
It's just every school, not just us, right?
Yeah,
At property rich schools.
Property rich.
Oh.
I think they have
I
a
see.
challenge with that
Is it
because
Sugar Land the property rich?
Organized, yes.
So then we can work together.
We've tried.
yeah, that's
Look again, the focus
Most
because
of
the way it
urban
lands.
districts are property rich. Most of them.
We need to continue to try. I think that's the answer. And I think because this past year with all the fights going on around education vouchers, this wasn't even on their radar. And I talked to someone who sits on the education committee for the state senate, which is only 31 members, and they weren't even thinking about this.
Yeah.
So
But they're all in Chicago now.
But now they're aware. Well, she's not. She's a Republican, but.
Oh, okay.
but
Okay, and lastly, I have the calendar. So our last meeting to adopt next year's budget will be on August 25 at 7 p.m. And that will be for adoption and tax rate, for budget and tax rate adoption. So that's all I have for today, unless you have any more questions. Yes, sir.
Maybe this isn't the right form to ask a question, but I'm just going to ask it, and if I need to get sidebar with someone later, I'd love to. There was a law that passed, the governor signed this summer, called the Landon Payton Act, that requires schools to have a cardiac plan in results, or after a tragic incident that happened at HISD, if I'm not mistaken, where a student that they tried to use an AED to save his life, and the AED wasn't up to snuff, it wasn't working. And I'm just wondering if, we are able to assess all of the AEDs on campus, make sure they're all good to go, and maybe, at least I'm aware from a couple years ago, that there were some blind spots, areas that needed AEDs that don't currently have them, and if that's included in this budget, based on this law, giving a little more teeth to the priority now.
So, a few years ago, we purchased additional AEDs. And in addition to that, our nurses do a wonderful job of keeping up with making sure that they're maintained. So they have logs. Not only are they logging them on paper, we're also using the TEA safety sentinel mechanism to enter that information as well. So we are keeping up with that information. But yeah, we keep them maintained. Actually, we keep them maintained through my office, and I work with the nurses and the lead nurse to ensure that we are in compliance with that. And that was actually one of the things when we had the district vulnerability assessment. That was one of the areas that they, I guess, inspected for lack of a better phrase. So we're in good shape as a district in that area.
Maybe one area, and obviously because of my experience, I'm aware of it, but I was going through the UIL training, and it's supposed to be within a 90-second walk. The tennis courts are not within a 90-second walk of any AED, so that is a blind spot that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Well, certainly, that's from, because there should be one. There should be one.
Or in the field house, but that's more than a 90-second walk.
Yeah, that is more.
For an average person. I can run there in 90 seconds, but not walk.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there any place from the tennis court that would be not 90-second walk based on the proximity of the tennis courts?
Either out there or on the side of the stadium or something.
So,
If there's not a place within walking.
Because the closest place would have to be almost like on the career, like we're on that side, and I'm still not quite sure if that's 90 seconds, but we can look into that.
Yeah, it's over by those stands in that area, that backside, but I don't know, we'd have to have something, possibly an enclosure or something over there too. So that's something that needs to be looked at. I think that's
we'll
a
look at it.
question that goes maybe a little further than this meeting and context of this. And I know there are no lawyers here and just a old superintendent, but just, I think if that's a good thing to follow up on.
But certainly, you know that.
Follow up on that as soon as possible.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm not trying to upward. A lot of our schools have, including your campus, has, you all have been running those drills, and we're certified through the Texas Children's Hospital. Exactly. And so, and I know we have at least 2 other campuses, so we're working for 100% to ensure that if we have some type of incident like that our folks on our campuses will be able to respond properly by earning that designation.
Yeah, the thing with those AEDs is that they have to be age appropriate. The unit is very expensive, and you have pediatric size like for kindergarten and all that, and then the adult size for, the older students. But I know the city had to replace some because they expire, unfortunately.
They do.
Yep.
And they're very expensive in just purchasing them. But with the school and all that, they certainly need to have them wherever they need to be placed, and what Councilman Wood was saying makes sense. So maybe that's something you have to carry out with you when you go practice, because they come in the traveling unit too.
Something to think about. Yes.
Yeah, since you've got that not only on the record, we'll look forward to a follow-up with Dr. DeBose on what your next steps are since you brought that out. Because it's something that we would need to purchase. It definitely it isn't even a line item. We can just purchase that.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I have comments. I want to congratulate y'all on convocation today. It was great. The only thing I was disappointed, it wasn't held in the city of Stafford, and we have to get down to why that happened, but it was great. The energy in the room was tremendous. You know, everybody seemed to be having fun, and the program was, you know, just had a good pace to it. So I congratulate y'all on the kickoff for the new year, and all the teachers. Y'all did a really great job in kicking it off. And you were a great MC.
Oh, thank you. I do want to say that we always try Stafford first. In the last 2 years, we've tried to go to the Stafford Center, and they did not have availability.
Okay,
and we start months in advance for locations.
Sentiment that she expressed was done good.
Yeah, we got to look into that and see what
Somewhere
happens.
here
Yeah.
in Stafford.
So I think Dr. Bose has given you all
Yeah.
a charging piece to make.
Yeah, we always.
You as the council make it happen because it got blocked basically 2 years in a row. I appreciate it.
We don't, because we don't wait to the last minute. We don't wait to the last minute to ask. But when we, yeah,
Today it was good.
it's too small.
Well, this is good.
Yeah,
So
you and I are going to dance. Yeah, right, next
we are
time.
going to dance. We'll get out there and dance with the folks always.
And I look forward to Saturday for the party.
That's a good point.
Party on the plaza
Party on
and the car
plaza.
show.
Everybody who's coming out, party on the plaza. Please, please, please be there. We are one. This is something we need to be in.
Anything else? Item number 5, public comment. Ms. Austin, do we have any public comment? No. Secretary, nope. No. Great. Moving on to item 6, adjournment. Do I have a,
Hit it hard.
I haven't adjourned yet. We got a motion by Secretary Sosa Montalvo, second from Trustee Sanchez. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
All right. Do we have to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay.
look forward to it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Well, you have to make a move.
Make a
Yeah.
motion.
So moved.
Wait a
So
minute.
moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
All in favor? Ready? All opposed? Yes, you can stay here. Let's go.
stay here.
Yeah, Ben Guerra is going to stay here.